Our thoughts and feelings are our own and are not representative of Electronic Arts as a whole or anyone else.
Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach, back in the studio with Mr. BB himself, Brandon Bowie. What's going on, bro?
Nothing.
Man, so I'm going to just tell him. So we were supposed to record this show roughly 24 hours ago. It's now Sunday afternoon.
Actually, really, if you want to think about it, we were supposed to record this like Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, we probably should have recorded it then, but we've waited some days, and then we were going to try to record it Saturday night, and then I all of a sudden disappeared off the face of the earth. It was not drugs. It was not women. It was Ghost Recon Wildlands.
So it was drugs and women.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was killing drug lords in Bolivia. And have you played this game yet?
Nope.
The most fun I've had with a Tom Clancy game since Rainbow Six Vegas. It is off the freaking charts fun. Giant open world, helping rebels incite a riot in Bolivia and take down a drug cartel. Everything I've ever wanted in a video game.
It's like a Ubisoft game, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, that's why I've never played it.
Oddly enough, plays like a beast. I don't know who the design team for this was. You know, I think it's safe to say I've only played one Ubisoft game in the last 2 years that didn't come out broken and that I really loved. And that was Child of Light. Wildlands is off the freaking charts fun. I have not had this much fun with a game. I mean, it's just fun. Giant open world and just so much missions to do and stuff to do and weapon unlocks and just, I'm having a blast with it, man. I really freaking love it. So, man, that's not what we're going to talk about, though, today. But it does explain why I disappeared and nobody could find me. Is that Valerian cosplay we're looking at?
No, she's cosplaying
Pacific
Rim.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, sorry.
They're battle suits. Cool. So check this out. What we're going to talk about today is something we planned to talk about it the day it came out. But our schedules were kind of screwy.
I was in fucking Dallas for a wedding for like 4 days.
The way it went is I went on vacation for 7 days. And then when I came back to town, you went on vacation for 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
So there was no way we were talking about this when it came out. It just, the schedule didn't work out.
But it's okay because I think it coming out today is literally, we're recording on the day that we're releasing. So it's coming out today. Give people have had time to go see SpiderMan.
Oh, yeah. So if you haven't seen SpiderMan yet,
fuck off. Go watch it. Come back.
We've waited 10 days?
10 days.
You've had 10 days to see this film, man. If you had watched it in 10 days, whatever spoilers you get in this show are all your fault. Do not listen to us past this. We are letting you know we're about to break this show down. Okay. So, this is weird. I didn't know how we wanted to break this one down because we didn't watch it and we didn't really discuss it. We kind of had some conversations about stuff we saw, but we kept stopping each other and saying, no, we'll save it for the show. We'll discuss this on the show. Overall, let's start with that. Overall, what was your opinion of the film?
It's almost like they went and wrote down a list of everything that they've done in the previous Spider-Man movies and then specifically did everything in their power not to do those things again. And it came out wonderfully. You
could tell Kevin Feige's hand was on this.
Yeah.
You could definitely tell that this is part of Marvel Cinematic lore. This is Marvel Cinematic Universe canon now. I could not get over... Okay, I'm going to tell you this. Going into the movie, things I didn't want to see. I wasn't hyped about the idea of them making him young again. I wasn't really big on that whole idea of young Spider-Man, high school Spider-Man, you know... I wasn't hyped for that. I was kind of actually upset by that. And I was like, God, I don't want to see that. That's going to suck.
No.
It did not suck at all. It was so freaking good. You know, Aunt May is kind of a hottie. Marissa Tomei's a hottie still.
She's what, 52?
Got to be in her 50s, man. She's got to be. And she's still just an amazing looking woman.
See, that's the thing is like, this is, everybody's saying, oh, it's young Aunt May, young Aunt May. No, this is Aunt May at the age that Aunt May is supposed to be at for this to not be weird. Because like 90-year-old Aunt May doesn't make any fucking sense because it's Aunt. Like, what did the two sisters like get birth 30 years apart? Like, that doesn't make any fuck. If you go look at the math, on the old Aunt May, the way that she was in the comics, like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it really didn't. Because his parents were kind of jet set and adventurers, and they were scientists.
Like, literally, like I said, unless the mom of Spider-Man was like 30 years younger than her sister, this does not make sense.
Right. But yeah, I mean, 19-year-old, 17-year-old. What was he, 15?
He's 15.
So he's 15.
The actor who's playing him is 21, but yeah, he's supposed to be 15.
He's 15-year-old, right? So 15-year-old Spider-Man makes sense. It was well done. I liked Aunt May. I really liked it. Other things I liked were there was not an origin story again. Thank you, God, from the bottom of my heart to Marvel and everybody for not giving us, which would have been what, our third or fourth origin story?
Probably fifth. But no, what they did do was they didn't even mention the fact that Uncle Ben was gone. They just said she's been through a lot.
Right.
That was it. And that's all you needed. You don't need any backstory. Unless that backstory is somehow going to loop around and connect to the fucking villain, nobody gives a shit.
No, and I didn't want to hear it.
They didn't use with great power comes with great responsibility. They didn't fucking use Uncle Ben's death as a catalyst for him doing the right thing. They didn't bother using every fucking trope in the goddamn book to try to get Spider-Man to be where he is.
No, they took us on a freaking magical journey. What they did use, and I think it was excellent use, of Civil War. To tie us into where we're introduced to Spider-Man.
That fucking YouTube medley at the very beginning.
Oh my God, dude. It's his video blog, his diary. Oh my God, it's so fun. So good. It's a great opening to the film, by the way.
Fucking happy. God damn it.
Can we just admit Jon Favreau is just a freaking genius in that role?
It's so good that he cast himself in his movie like fucking 10 years ago. Because if he hadn't, none of this magic would have happened.
Bro, that was the greatest part.
Why are you calling me? Why are you calling me? Just all the time.
Yeah, dude, he nails that role, man. And then for him to actually be the one that really likes the kid, has been pulling for the kid the whole time, it just plays out well, man. But him in that role is just like, that's magical. It was truly magical. I love seeing him in that role. We'll get into at the end. I'll talk about who else I love seeing in their role, too, because I have never been so happy to see a female come back on the screen in a role as I was at the end of this film. I was so happy. Fuck it. I'm saying it. Pepper came back, and when I saw her come out that boardroom, I had a smile go across my face like, yes!
You think that she had one of those jade eggs in her vagina at that point?
Quit it.
Sorry. This Gwyneth Paltrow shit recently has just gotten hilarious. Her with the fucking energy magnets and fucking jade eggs in the vagina and all this other shit. But yeah, she was really good at the end.
Man.
I'm glad that they brought that in because there was the whole thing during Civil War where it seemed like Tony was going to go after fucking Aunt May.
Oh, yeah. Even in this one, he's still kind of flirty with Aunt May, Hope you're wearing something kind of skimpy. Say what? I'm just joking. Don't worry about that part. And I was like, whoa, bro. You can't say that in front of Peter about his aunt. But, man, no, it was cool. I was real glad to see her come back. Because you remember in Civil War, they kind of addressed that Natalie Portman was not there for Thor. And that Pepper wasn't there for Tony. And it was kind of this weird thing where it was like, we're acknowledging that these women aren't in this film. And then we knew Natalie Portman wasn't going to be in the new Thor movie.
Yeah.
And I was starting to have concerns. I was like, you built this universe with those two ladies in it. I expect to see those two ladies show up somewhere in here. Like, Natalie Portman better somehow better walk on screen. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes. She better be in Infinity War.
No, she's gone. Gone.
That hurts.
It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Why?
Because I don't want her to be Lady Thor. Because I have a feeling that after Infinity War is over, I think we're definitely losing Captain America.
Yeah.
Because he only signed up for one more movie so that they could finish out the storyline for the fourth iteration. So we're losing Captain America, which means the Falcon's probably going to become Captain America, or Bucky's going to become Captain America. We might lose Thor too. Like maybe something happens during the battle and Thor retreats or something and he decides he's not worthy anymore. He throws down the hammer. somebody has to pick it up, so they might bring in Lady Thor. This might also be a good time to kill off Tony Stark and bring him in as an artificial intelligence and bring in Ironheart. Like, if they're going to do the changeover, post-Infinity War is going to be the time that they do it. And Infinity War is going to be the way that they catalyze and just throw out all of this, the old stuff, and bring in new stuff. It's going to be make or break for the whole Marvel universe on the big screen, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, because, man, a lot of stuff, and a lot of people who may watch this Spider-Man movie and watch the films may not collect comic books, may not have read a comic book in 20 years. But Marvel has gone through some changes in the comics. So, Thor is now the unworthy Thor. Still a badass, but now he's working back toward being the mighty Thor. But there is a mighty Thor who is a female who wields Mjolnir now.
Yeah.
And in the comic book, that's Jane.
Yeah.
And Jane,
I don't want her to be.
You didn't want Natalie Portman to be the Thor.
No. Just bring in either bring in another actress to be Jane Foster, or bring in a new love interest for him who winds up taking up the. The only thing that would be nice about it is just watching Jane Foster have cancer.
Because that happens in the comic book. Yeah. She's worthy, but to wield it is killing Jane Foster.
No, it's not that. It's she has the cancer, and when she's not Thor, she has cancer. So every time she puts the hammer down, her cancer comes out of remission, and she has to go right back into chemotherapy treatments. So she kind of like goes back and forth between having cancer. She either is Thor all the time and doesn't have cancer, or if she decides she wants to be Jane Foster again, she has to have cancer.
Right. Which is a weird storyline, man.
Yeah.
Kind of bleak, but it's been hella interesting reads, man. I mean, it's been a good comic book read. I'm not going to knock it, but I was kind of like, where are we going with this whole thing, with the cancer and the Thor, her being Thor, and how was she found worthy? Mm-hmm. My question was, how the hell was she there when he dropped it on the moon to pick it up? I've had questions about this that nobody's ever answered. Well, they're starting to answer it in the comic books, but it's kind of waiting for a full-out answer. Like, Jane just happened to be on the moon?
I can never remember her fucking name. What's Kat Dennings' fucking character's name?
The assistant?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She should be fucking the new Thor. That would be
Dennings
hilarious.
can do anything she wants to do.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And it would be great.
Yeah, I could definitely see. Because, man, my thing is this. You're at a point now, we brought in young Peter, so we have a young Spider-Man.
Yeah. We also have confirmation that Miles Morales exists.
He does exist in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. They did not give him a name. No. But let me explain this. For people that are listening to the show, you probably have heard a lot of comic book geeks go crazy about Donald Glover being in Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, the reason we went crazy was because of the character he played. Now, most people say he played some two-bit criminal. Yes, but he was the most epic two-bit criminal in all of Marvel Comics.
Yep.
He was Aaron Davis. Aaron Davis was the brother of Jefferson Davis. And Jefferson Davis is the father of Miles Morales, who becomes Black Spider-Man. He is Black Spider-Man. And you don't make an announcement like Aaron Davis. You find out this guy's name, and then he has the greatest, most epic line in the movie. And it totally, when he said it, I was just like, oh, that's cool. And he goes, hey, I have a nephew that lives in that community, and I don't want those kind of weapons out there. And the minute he said that, he didn't say his name. Mm-hmm. All he said was, I have a nephew, and pockets of people in the theater. I went to a full showing at Movie House Eatery opening night. It was a Thursday night. People lost their shit when he said that. There was these small pockets of people with me that were like, and I was like, oh, they all collect a comic book. That's who those pockets are.
So Aaron Davis, also known as the Prowler?
He did. He became the Prowler.
Yeah. So in the scene in the movie where he's talking with the weapons dealers, he actually asked them, "Do you have anything for climbing?"
Yes.
That was what got me.
That was the line that got you.
They're doing it.
Because he killed me with that. When you said it, he said, you missed that whole line. And I went, that line flew over my head. I wasn't paying attention. I was just so busy waiting to see what he was going to say that when he said, I don't really need that. You got anything for climbing? And I was like, Okay. Okay, Marvel, you win again. You win again. Because that was a great line for him to throw in there for us to actually know, hey, you've now established that he is the two-bit criminal. We've now established that he does have a nephew who lives in the Brooklyn area. Mm-hmm. Brooklyn in the Bronx. We know he's in this area, in this community where these weapons are going. And you've now established that he's looking for stuff to help him to climb. Oh my God, yes. Are you going to bring me a Prowler story? Is Spider-Man Homecoming 2 going to be the introduction of Miles Morales and the Prowler storyline? Because if you do that, I'm going to need a nap. I got to lay down.
So speaking of Infinity War, what if they bring in the Fantastic Four as I can't remember the name of the group. There's a group of people that basically act like the heralds of Galactus, but for Thanos. It's some kind of like Dark Order or something along those lines.
Yeah, he has a team.
What if it's the Fantastic Four?
I know where you're going with this. So you're talking about, because my brother and I talked about this. So I guess DE23, the Disney thing.
Yeah.
So they
unveiled Thanos.
The Thanos, life-size Thanos statue.
There are 4 other statues that are, under wraps that are behind him. And one of them is larger than all the other ones.
I don't know if people are ready for that. I mean, let's think about this.
I mean, this is so the trend now since Spider-Man seems to be that they're going to introduce characters that they're going to put in movies later. So Civil War with Black Panther and Spider-Man, and then now in Infinity War, they're going to have over like 50 heroes who are going to be in that, who are fighting Thanos. So this seems to be their backdoor way of being able to get people into the universe without having to spend the money on an entire movie. So they introduce them. If the audience is warm to them, then they can make a movie for them. And that would be a way for them to introduce Galactus, the Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Four. Because there's this whole deal that went on with Fox so that Fox could make live-action television shows based on the X-Men. Well, what did Marvel get out of that? What did Disney get out of that? Fantastic Four.
I think it's a great idea. I truly think that would be amazing if they did it.
It's not going to happen, though.
But, man, I just don't see them doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's what the fans want. And let me tell you something. My brother caught me yesterday, like ran me down to find me to talk about this exact same thing. There are 4 things, and the internet is buzzing. He said, have you watched Comics Explained? And I went, no. He said, he's already trying to push the hype. What if that's the Fantastic Four behind him? Yeah. So it's catching speed. The internet is buzzing. The internet wants those 4 statues to be the Fantastic Four.
See, it would be a great way to introduce them, to backdoor introduce them before you give them the movie. You don't have to fucking tell their origin story. They're there. And you don't even have to bother telling their origin story later on when you give them a movie. But could you imagine if the next big bad for the next arc is Doctor Doom? You know, how Thanos is with Infinity War right now. If in 10 years, once they're done with the second, 5, 6, 7, and 8, at the end of 8, if it's Doctor Doom who's the bad guy, or if it's Galactus, or if it's Reed Richards with his Herald.
You really, you're selling me on it. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Any of these things I will take.
Any of those would work.
But I digress. We're talking about Spider-Man.
But no, there's definitely some ideas buzzing behind that. So let's get back on topic. So we know we talked about the whole thing with the Prowler. Let's talk about some of these other characters in the film. I'm going to be honest with you. One of my boys, you know him, Ryan Connolly, great guy, good friend of the show, does not like the Flash Thompson we got from Tony Rebel.
I loved him.
He said Flash was always a big dumb jock who was kind of poor, but loved Spider-Man, and that was where his bullying came from, the idea that he was, this inferiority complex he had, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, that's true. That was the comic book. In this one, Flash is kind of flashy. He's a rich kid, and he's actually kind of smart because he was on their science team.
Mm-hmm. I like this version of Flash better because he's not... The idea that a jock would be able to physically intimidate Spider-Man is retarded. We're talking about a kid who can lift fucking 35 tons. So having him be a social foil for Spider-Man makes a lot more sense because, he may not be able to bite you, but he can hurt you in other ways.
Oh yeah, he can make your life in high school miserable, man.
And that's what it's really all about. That was the whole thing with Flash, was like that was the trope, in the 50s and 60s and 70s, is the physical bully making your life hell. Now they don't want to do that from a corporate Disney side of things because bullying is bad, physical bullying is bad, and we don't want to promote that. So they've changed it to social bullying instead, which is the hot button topic right now anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Flash character was fucking great.
Yeah.
He was great.
I wasn't against him.
Of course, I did not like him. He was a fucking asshole. But
he nails
his
that
job.
He was doing his job. When you watch a character in a movie and you fucking hate the person that's playing that character is the best actor you will ever see. I'll give you an example. Joffrey. I know people that cannot freaking stand Lawrence Fishburne because of the movie What's Love Got to Do with It, when he played Ike Turner. They cannot stand him because, boy, let me tell you something. If you've ever watched that film, What's Love Got to Do?
Because it's his fault that the hits just kept on coming, right?
Bro, he becomes Ike Turner in that film, and you're just sitting there like, he whooped this woman's ass. He whooped her ass through the whole film and put her through hell and miscarriages. And, man, Ike was doing that cocaine, and you just watching this film, and you're hanging on everything. Like, you're mesmerized when he's on the screen, and you fucking hate this guy. Now, at the end of the day, I love Lawrence Fishburne. You know why? Because I'm getting sick of people comparing me to this fool. Yesterday, I went to a GameStop, man, and I swear to God, the girl in the GameStop, I'm trying to pick up some stuff. She goes, every time you come in, you remind me of this actor. And I said, what actor? Well, he was in this film. It was one of the new Predator films. And she said, I can't remember his name. And I went, what? And she kept trying to describe it. And I was like,
he was in a Predator film. Were we talking about
Donald
thinking, Glover?
I was trying to figure out who she's talking about. Yeah, I don't know where she's going with this.
Danny Glover?
Danny Glover. No, so she starts telling me all this other stuff. She said, no, I don't think it was a Predator film. She said he was doing this. Now I'm just sitting here like, I don't know who it is. Why don't you look up the film? I say, because some people at work say I look like Coach from Left 4 Dead 2. She said, if you would grow your beard back, you totally look like Coach from Left 4 Dead 2. And I went, yeah, thanks for that. And then she goes, but no, I've seen this guy on TV too. And I said, I've had some friends tell me that I look like Lawrence Fishburne, but surely that's not who you mean. And she looks the name up and goes, oh my God, that is who I mean. You look like Lawrence Fishburne. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm sorry I cursed, but damn, I was so mad. I was like, really?
I guess we're talking about like Hannibal Lawrence Fishburne.
Bro, she's got me messed up. Like, I had a buddy of mine one time said, bro, I was watching TV the other night, and I swear to God you were on TV. And I went, what? He said, man, I really thought it was you. I stopped everything to see who it was. He was watching the old CSI rerun, and Lawrence Fishburne was on there, and he had the glasses on like these. You get that picture away from me. You get that freaking picture away from me. Bro, they saw Lawrence Fishburne. He said, I thought it was you, bro. He said, then I looked and said, oh, that's Lawrence Fishburne. But then, I'll tell you what makes it worse. We had a guy from Social come over from Galway, Ireland, was at our building at EA one day. I'm walking through the building. I go up to see my boy Cade. I say, hey, Cade, man, did you see that thing with FIFA? And, we were talking about it. And the guy looks at Cade in wonder and amazement, and his jaw kind of opens like that. Like he's kind of like mouth ajar looking at us. And I go, what's wrong? I just kind of noticed, I said, is something wrong? And he goes, no, I was just trying to figure out why Lawrence Fishburne was talking to Cade. And I was like, no, I reject that. Dude, I was so sick. Those are the two people I get. You look like Lawrence Fishburne, and you look like Coach from Left 4 Dead 2. That's all I ever get, bro. I don't get anything else. I can't even get a Danny Glover. I can't get an R. Kelly out of him. I look like Lawrence Fishburne, and I look like Coach from Left 4 Dead 2. That's all I get.
You could look like less dignified people.
That's true. I mean, they really are giving me some great characters to look like, man. But yeah, dude, it killed me with that one. That killed me. So I was like, that's way off topic, but that's what got me. But Lawrence Fishburne was terrible in that role, and he made me hate him. Tony Reveille, I mean, he was terrible as Flash to the point where, he was the greatest the Flash, but it made me hate him. I just hated him. I just wanted to see him get punched in the face. Like, when I saw that sports car get wrecked, his dad's car, I just his dad's going to kill him. That's amazing. That's awesome. What about the Zendaya? What did you think about that whole thing?
I mean, her character was okay. She was just basically there to be comic relief.
Exactly.
Her role wasn't that big. Although the end was pretty fucking funny, though.
You like that?
Yeah. She's like, I don't care. Just go.
Yeah, dude. There was parts in this movie. Her character was always kind of watching everything, from the sidelines. She seemed to be paying a lot more attention to stuff than we expected. Okay, I'm going to show you something. This is what I want to pull up. I'm actually going to get some information about this guy. It was, see if I can pull this picture up for you. This guy, that's Black Dwarf. Huge. Kind of like the Thing. He's also...
Yeah, that's probably who it is.
He's also part of Thanos' group. And that was the beauty of this, was that Thanos had this team, like the Black Order. That was his elite, his elite hit squad, right? So there were...
Black Order, that's the name that I was thinking.
I want to think it's 5 of them in the Black Order. I know that there's the Black Dwarf, Corvus Glaive, Ebony Maw. I'm thinking about these now. So wait, I say Corvus Glaive, Ebony Maw, Black Dwarf, and there's a female in that group. Oh, why can I not think of that female's name?
The Invisible Woman?
Oh, you crazy. Proxima Midnight. That's the 4th one. And now I'm going to be honest with you. If they bring the Black Order into this, that would be amazing. But if they bring out let me just say this now. Infinity War probably has the opportunity to be one of the biggest jaw-dropping moments. Tommy has said this, and I totally agree with it. That moment when the Guardians of the Galaxy land on planet Earth to come and lend aid to the Avengers to fight him. The minute that spaceship lands, it's going to be the greatest moment in Marvel Cinematic Universe history. People are going to lose their shit that the Guardians and the Avengers are finally together. They're going to lose it. And don't let Adam Warlock show up too.
It's going to happen.
Adam Warlock shows up.
Adam Warlock has to show up because they don't got anybody.
And then here's this.
They really don't got anybody who can stand up to Thanos. They just don't. They don't even have Miss Marvel at this point. And they're not going to have her for Infinity War.
Yep.
They literally need somebody.
I wouldn't mind if Squirrel Girl shows up.
They have cast Squirrel Girl, by the way.
Yeah. I would not mind if Squirrel Girl shows up and comes in and punches him out.
In the dick.
Bro, because it happens. She's one of the few people that has single-handedly. She didn't have a hero team with her. It was Squirrel Girl and an army of squirrels, and she whooped Thanos' ass, man. And that is comic book canon, that she is that strong. She's beat a couple of powerhouses. Squirrel Girl is not a punk, man, when you really think about it.
So Squirrel Girl is going to be Melina Van Trub.
The AT&T girl? Mm-hmm. AT&T commercial girl?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in love with this idea. I probably shouldn't be that in love with the idea, but that is amazing. Bro, anybody knows the AT&T girl knows who Melina Van Trump is, and she is amazing. And now I think that's a great casting if that's who they pull to be Squirrel Girl.
Oh, they've already confirmed it.
Okay, cool. That's it. Then there's your Squirrel Girl. And if that's who they come out on the film, she could beat him. Oh, there was a 5th member of his Black Supergiant. That was a woman. Supergiant was a woman also. So there's 5 members. And you said there's only 4 statues behind him?
Yeah. Unless 2 people are standing next to each other under one, shroud or something. There's only 4 of them. And one of them is larger than all the other ones. Be good.
Oh my God, man, this is so good. I just thought about it. I was like, yeah, wait, there were 2 women in that group. Supergiant and Proxima Midnight were both women in the Black Order. And there were 5 to the Black Order, not 4. There were 5.
So back to Spider-Man again.
You killed me with this, man. You really...
I didn't do it.
We came in to do a Spider-Man special. We had so much information running around in our head.
So I think the best part about this and the best part about the last few Marvel movies, with the exception of Doctor Strange, is all the villains have had a really clear motivation as to why they're doing what they're doing. And they really gave Vulture a really, really good reason for why he's doing what he's doing.
Can we just go ahead and say this? Greatest Marvel villain ever.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm taking, like, look, I know we've had Loki. I know we've had, the Abomination.
Just say Loki again, because there really aren't any other good villains.
Yeah, I mean, they've had other characters and villains in every movie. But this one, Vulture, is the greatest, most well-rounded, most thought-out, most complete villain ever. Look.
And scary outside of his costume.
Frightening. Like, Michael Keaton deserves a freaking nod for this, man. Like, we know he's a great actor. We've never doubted him as an actor. We didn't doubt it when they were saying they were going to cast him in the role. My thing where I think I just always kind of thought was like the Vulture was a cool villain, but he was a Spider-Man, I always thought of him as kind of a B-list guy.
Yeah.
He was a B-list villain to me. They had to come together as the Sinister Six to even be a threat.
Well, the good thing about having them bringing in a B villain for his first villain is they're not falling to, again, the big list of things that they shouldn't fucking do right out of the gate is bring in an A-list villain who's going to end the fucking world. And Spider-Man has to save the whole world. Like, that's not what's happening in this movie. It's essentially Spider-Man's catching a guy who's a thief, who's stealing things, and then one of his other henchmen is turning them into weapons, and then they're selling weapons. Like, that's it. Like, it's the equivalent of, like, him, catching a burglar or something along those lines. Which is good because they just need an intro villain. But on top of him being an intro villain, he's just really fucking good all around. Like, they chose the right actor, they gave that actor the right script, and he fucking killed it.
Bro, he
fucking killed it.
He chews scenery. Man, when he's in every scene, you're riveted. But I'm going to tell you something. That scene where he was in the freaking car with Peter alone, and he has... Now, a lot of people may not have noticed this. He had a gun in his right hand, and he never points the gun at Peter. He just has it in his right hand, and it's just resting there on the seat. And if you go back and watch the movie for a second
he just
time...
turns, and he's looking into the back seat, and he's just got the gun in his hand.
And man, he makes one of the most threatening speeches I've ever heard from a Marvel Cinematic villain. You could have taken that whole scene out of that movie, taken Spider-Man and superhero elements out of that scene, and put that on something like The Shield or in The Godfather or in The Departed. You could have put that in any gangster flick, and that would have been the most frightening scene in that. It was tense.
So, like, they did the best misdirect I've ever seen a movie do with that character. The best misdirect.
You didn't see it coming?
No, did not see it coming because...
When it's revealed who the Vulture is, and you knew the whole time the Vulture was him, you knew what his whole motive was.
You knew he had a family.
You knew he had a family. You knew what was going on.
He never mentions that he has a daughter, so you don't know that.
Yeah, you don't
just
know
says,
anything.
I'm doing this for my family. You don't think that the family's really ever going to come into it, and then ding dong, door opens, and literally you could hear everybody in the entire theater's asshole clench at the same time.
It was amazing. Like,
and then
I've never...
They just grab you like that, and they hold you like that for a solid fucking 6 or 7 minutes through that whole scene in the house, then them in the car on the way there.
Oh my God.
And like you can see the wheels.
There's a 10 minutes. That is a 10-minute segment where he's in that. He gets introduced at the house, and everybody, that's those moments.
Yeah.
There were so many of those in this film, and that's what they got right about this film. But there's so many where that 10 minutes where we're watching the wheels start spinning in Michael Keaton's head, and he's starting to put
it all together in that short car ride.
And he's putting it together, and I'm just like...
The second that Elizabeth was like, oh, Peter knows Spider-Man, and you're just like, oh,
you do?
Fuck.
Yeah. Oh,
shut your mouth, woman. Stop talking.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I kind of met him through the Tony Stark, in my thing with Tony Stark, but, I don't really...
Internship.
I don't do that anymore. Like, he's trying to back his way out of that conversation. And the guy, and it was at the house. Man, you sound really familiar.
What was it like being inside that elevator? I wasn't inside the elevator. I wasn't. Oh, so you weren't in the. Okay, fuck.
You were outside.
I'm gonna fucking shoot you.
I was downstairs. Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Man, dude, it's so tense. I swear to God. Like, everybody that's watched that movie, we talk about great moments in Marvel Cinematic history. When we talk about great moments, this will go up number one on a lot of lists because that is the most tense 10 minutes I've ever seen in a Marvel film ever.
Like I said, man, the second that door opens, I swear I heard everybody's butthole clamp shut in the whole theater. Everybody was just like,
bro, I don't even know if I breathed for a good minute and a half. I was just kind of sitting there like, this just got really real, really quick. It got really real, really, really quick. It was like, okay, the roller coaster started. Let's see where this ride's going now. And it just took you through some of the, like, you were sweating bullets with Peter. You know the part where she's like, look at the camera, smile, Peter. And he keeps looking at her dad. He's like, camera's over here, Peter. Okay. I was like, bro, Peter. You're screwing up. You're not building your own case right here, dog. So it was so good. Such a good scene. And then Bokeem Woodbine. Mm-hmm. Bokeem Woodbine is the Shocker?
Mm-hmm. The Shocker 2.
The Shocker 2, yeah. Let us say the Shocker 2. And it was just, this is the thing this movie did that shocks me. You put that many big names, like Bokeem Woodbine got a long career in Hollywood.
Yeah.
He's been in Hollywood. He's not some newcomer. And you got him playing a bit part in a Marvel film. And now he knows I'm the Shocker in Marvel Cinematic history.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's almost gotten to this point where it seems like it's an institution. Like, if fucking Marvel offers you a part, you fucking take the part.
You go with it.
I don't care what it is. Bro. Because even if it's just a little bit part, like fucking, Prowler, that could lead to a Prowler movie. That could lead to the Prowler being a SpiderMan villain later on. That could lead to the Prowler being in something else somewhere down the road.
Because those characters are so interconnected.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody tells me right now.
It's like, I'm going to offer you a job right now, and then that's going to lead to like 30 jobs down the road.
It could possibly.
Buckle up, fucker.
I mean, think about
sorry,
it.
What were you going to say?
Well, look at the whole thing. We were just talking about it this week. Sif. Lady Sif.
Mm-hmm.
Just a background character in a Thor comic book. She was one of his childhood friends. Mm-hmm. It led to her doing 2 movies and the TV show S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly think they're probably going to give her a movie at some point.
I wouldn't mind if Sif became... if they wanted to make Sif the Thor in the movies, I could live with that, too.
I could live with that, too.
I could do that. I'm just saying. You want to make Sif the female Thor in the films for, the second phase of these things, or your new Marvel Cinematic Universe, whatever you decide to call it. That I could go with that.
Yeah.
I could go with that. But definitely, it was just like, that was one of those. This movie did so many good things. It did so many things right.
Just the detail on Flash Thompson's character, like how fucking obsessed he is with fucking beating Peter down. When Spider-Man's falling through the elevator shaft and fucking Flash leans over and goes, "Do you know Peter Parker?" Well, he's fucking falling to his death down this gigantic elevator shaft. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Tell me that Flash Thompson isn't Flash Thompson after that.
Yeah, no, there was some things. I'm going to tell you what. Michelle, I can't think of her name. Zendaya's character, Michelle, what her last name was.
They were calling her MJ, but her first name is Michelle, but she's not listed as having a last name.
Yeah, that character, I could have swore they gave her a last name in the... Because remember, I was saying in the comic book, there was a Michelle that Peter Parker ended up having a relationship with. That was a Spanish woman. Her brother was a cop that ended up, being killed in the line of duty. So there were some things about that I was kind of like, where are we going with this story? Are we introducing her as a high school friend to Peter? Where are we going? But then when she said MJ, my friends called me MJ at the end. I was just like, another moment from everybody in the theater.
She's literally said that she is not Mary Jane.
She's not.
She's not.
She is not Mary Jane, but she is MJ. She is an MJ, but she is not Mary Jane. And I was loving it was like, oh, well played, Marvel. Because you've told us, Zendaya told us that I can honestly go out on the record and tell you I'm not Mary Jane. And that was so amazing. She kept saying that. And she said, when the film comes out, you guys will see I'm not Mary Jane. She never said I'm not MJ. She said, I'm a character named Michelle. I'm not Mary Jane. And that was a great reveal, I thought, at the end. So a lot of things they got right. I want to talk to you about some of this post-credit business, though. What did you think about the Aunt May just seeing him in the Spider-Man suit?
That was the best. That was the best thing in the whole movie.
When she goes, what the? And
what the
and then it just cuts off. And it was like, yes. You knew she was about to drop that F-bomb. It was, you clearly had an F coming out of that mouth.
I just like it because, like, the whole, like, trying to... This is another thing that, like, all of the superhero stuff that's happened, especially on the DC side of things on television, is everybody trying to hide everything from everybody, and then eventually it comes out, and it's this big heartbreak moment and all this shit, and they were just like, no, fuck it. We're not going to have him hide it from Aunt May. She sees him in the suit, she freaks out. It's probably going to lead to just a tiny bit of drama that's going to come in right at the beginning of the next movie, and then it's going to be gone, and we're not going to worry about it anymore. Thank fuck. Because the last thing I want to fucking do is just have another whole fucking movie where Spider-Man's trying to hide his identity from Aunt May the whole fucking time.
Well, let's talk about this. In the comic book right now, in Miles Morales' comic book, his dad figured out that he was Black Suit Spider-Man, okay? Mm-hmm. His dad has his own secrets. His dad, this entire time, has been a retired S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Not only was he a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, he was a S.H.I.E.L.D. field operative. And his wife and son did not know this, and that he was called back into duty to try to protect Miles, okay? He was doing some stuff because he knew Miles was getting in over his head, and Black Cat comes into play into that. So it was pretty amazing stuff going on in the comic book. I want to say with issue 19 or 20, somewhere in there, his mother just found out. Everybody's secrets came out. So now she knows her husband has been the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and that her son is Black Suit Spider-Man. And this is why he's failing classes. It's because he's been going around saving the world.
Yeah.
And fighting alongside the Avengers. So,
what's wrong with that?
Yeah. I mean, there's some things going on. So the comic book is already kind of addressing that issue. I thought it was pretty neat to see that myself. But there was one thing that I thought was interesting. One of the things that's worked really well in Miles's comic book has been the fact that he had a buddy named Genki. Genki was a, kind of larger guy, heavy-set guy who was kind of a geek, and the man in the chair role. Mm-hmm. And he's been doing that for Miles, and he knew Miles' secret identity. Same way that it happened for Peter in the film is pretty much how it happened for Miles in the comic book. Mm-hmm. Sneaking into his house, Genki happens to be in the bedroom, sees it, figures it out, everything like, you're Spider-Man. And he's going, what are you doing in my bedroom? It was a very comic way his best friend finds out, right?
By the way, the anti-gay panic joke was the best joke.
The what?
So you usually have that joke in the movie, like the gay panic, where like everybody, like there's a compromising situation and somebody sees, and then everybody assumes that they're gay, and then it's the gay panic.
Oh, yeah.
Where like the guy's panicking because he's like, I'm not gay. And then you have the scene where, he sneaks into his house, he fucking crawls along the ceiling, he drops down, he hits the button, the suit falls off of him because it gets too big, and he's standing there in his underwear next to his best friend, and Aunt May comes in, and you think that in that moment Aunt May is going to be like, what the fuck,
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, just Peter, put some clothes on. She just walks out.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It was.
It was the best.
Because they didn't go with that entire scene, man.
You can feel the whole audience just go, they're all braced to laugh at this gay joke that doesn't happen.
I know, and I loved it. I was so glad that it didn't go that route. I was just like, thank you for not doing tired and contrived humor. Thank you so much, Marvel. Like I said, they did a lot of things right with this film. A lot of great things came out of this film, but they set up so much big picture stuff. And it's almost to the point now that it's hard to watch a Marvel film and not start thinking big picture, where will this play out? Where is this going? Where does this fit into the canon? You gave me a lot more pieces to the puzzle, and I have no place to put these pieces in the puzzle yet.
Let's see the other thing. That scene where he's leaving to go and spy on the Vulture's men, mm-hmm. and he runs into Elizabeth, and she's like, come to the pool and everything. I was just like, God damn it. Just go to the pool. Just go to the pool. Just forget it. Just go to the fucking... God damn it, Spider-Man.
You wanted
God damn it.
You wanted him to just say, okay, I'm going to the pool.
I would have gone to the fucking pool.
You see?
I'd have been like, the day can save itself.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
Yeah, Iron Man, you need to catch this, bro. I'm throwing you a call. But no, I want to be the big hero. No. Iron Man can handle this. I'll be at the pool. Yeah. It was so... There was a couple things. There's one thing we forgot. Let's go ahead and address this. We saw Scorpion. For all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Scorpion was introduced in this film.
Yeah.
And then we never saw him in his suit, but we know this is the guy that will eventually become Scorpion.
And we know that this has to have happened sometime before Civil War because he's already in jail and they come across each other. So Peter has to have already put Scorpion down before this even happened. Unless it was positing that he had put Scorpion down in the time after he had taken out Vulture.
Well, here's the thing that gets me. Let's look at this. At one point, when they had the big boat battle, we know Scorpion kind of gets webbed to the back of the boat, you know?
Yeah.
That was when the cars are, everything's going crazy. He webs him to the back of the boat.
Okay, so he was.
And FBI was there, remember?
Okay.
And the FBI showed up, and I think they had enough evidence at that point to arrest him.
Yeah.
So he's put down. I think, to me, in my mind, I was going, okay, that's how he ends up in jail.
So Vulture was supplying Scorpion with...
He was about to supply him with because remember, that's who he was selling to.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I thought that was just a meeting in prison of those two, and that's, something had happened, like where SpiderMan had taken him out earlier.
On the boat.
But he did.
When he was like, I don't like dealing with this guy, is what the Shocker says to Vulture. And he says he's downstairs by the car, and they go down. Scorpion sends one of his men back by the truck to go look at the equipment. I believe this is where Scorpion was about to get the Scorpion suit. He was getting the technology that Vulture's guys had put together. So I was like, this is kind of neat. They're setting up something here. That these guys are getting this super-powered equipment that now makes them super-powered villains. Mm-hmm. But we know this is Scorpion because of the Scorpion tattoo on his face.
Once again, Tony Stark is still the ultimate villain.
Bro, I was talking to GD Batman, our homegirl Brandy, about this. So it was the thing. I said, I want you guys to think about something. Who's the biggest villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And they said, what do you mean? I say, there's a thing going around where people think it could be Tony Stark because a lot of stuff he does is what leads to these problems that we have.
It's all Tony Stark's problem. So Tony Stark put together Damage Control. Damage Control took away the Vulture's job. The Vulture becomes a villain and starts selling weapons. Tony Stark's power technology, which was powering Avengers Tower, is the power source that's used to open the portal that allows the Chitauri to come in and wreck New York. It's all fucking Tony Stark's fault. All of it.
Every time you turn, but he profits from all of it, though.
You can fucking trace a line from whatever the fuck is happening to Tony Stark. I think the only thing that you can't do, well, actually you can, because fucking Tony Stark's going to be the catalyst for Thanos coming to Earth, because Tony Stark created the robot that eventually made Vision, and Vision has a fucking stone in his head that Thanos is going to need in order to complete the gauntlet, so he's going to have to come to Earth. So it's fucking Tony Stark's fault that he comes to Earth, too.
Tony Stark is responsible in the cinematic universe for the creation of Ultron, who is responsible for the creation of Vision, who is responsible for bringing Thanos to Earth.
Yeah, it's Tony Stark's fault.
You can play 6 Degrees of Separation with Tony Stark.
Yeah,
and
everything.
And if you want to talk about all the bad stuff that's ever happened with S.H.I.E.L.D., wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for Howard Stark, who is Tony Stark's dad.
Yep. The Stark family is a fucking curse on planet Earth, and they should be eliminated.
Well, the Winter Soldier took 2 parts of that curse out. That's all we're going to say. Too soon? Was it too soon for that? I'm just saying. I don't know. It was
Apparently
too soon.
It didn't happen soon enough because all this shit still happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad things still going down from Tony. And it's the thing. And like when I said that to them, they were like, wait a minute. Hold on. What do you mean? I said, everything that goes wrong, Tony somehow
I've been saying this shit
has
for
a
years.
hand in it, man. And you really have. And I always used to think, no way. But then all of a sudden, after you said it to me this last time, I stopped and I started thinking, yeah, in this film, Tony's always his hubris, his pride.
So Tony creates weapons. Weapons get stolen by terrorists and used on regular people. So Tony creates the Iron Man armor and the arc reactor. The arc reactor then gets used by his villain to power his villain's suit, which gets used against Tony and gets used against civilians. That's like Iron Man 1 and 2. And then Iron Man 3, Tony slights another scientist and locks him on the top of a fucking building. And that guy creates a formula that's used to blow up a shitload of innocent civilians.
The
so Tony Stark
program.
being a dick to somebody creates a villain that threatens the whole fucking planet. I mean, the list goes on. Tony Stark's dad created the Vita Ray machine, which was used in conjunction with the serum that created fucking Captain America. And then that serum, which was taken out of his blood, was later used to create fucking the Hulk. So the radiation and everything, all of that testing and experiments that were done on Captain America created the Hulk.
And the Winter Soldier.
And the Winter Soldier. And all of those Winter Soldiers that were frozen that got murdered in that facility in Russia. Tony Stark created fucking Ultron. Ultron blew up an entire city, and the city that got blown up killed the family of the guy who would later come in and create Civil War. It's like, how are all of these things not Tony Stark's fault?
He's always in. You can place 6 degrees of separation with Tony Stark in every bad thing that's happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Tony Stark's dad was a dick to fucking Ant-Man, the original Ant-Man. And the original Ant-Man left and created his own company.
Oh, Pym. Yeah, he sure did.
And then eventually Pym's technology, which should have been protected by S.H.I.E.L.D., but wasn't because Tony Stark's dad was a dick,
Ends up getting in Yellow Jacket's hand.
Later becomes Yellow Jacket. I could keep going. I mean, you just look at it objectively. It's all fucking Tony Stark's fault. All of it. Him, his dad.
It is a Stark man that always starts a catalyst for something bad to go wrong. Every freaking time.
Which is kind of fitting, because if it wasn't for the original Iron Man for Tony Stark, we wouldn't have a Marvel Cinematic Universe to begin with. But I'm trying to think of an instance where it's not Tony Stark's fault, and I can't. Like even Thor. I can't. Let's see what happens in Thor.
Well, in Thor, we're basically dealing with Loki being Loki. Yeah. But let's face it,
I think Thor might be the only example where it's not Tony Stark's fault, just because it starts out as across the universe and comes to Earth and then leaves again. But then again, if you want to look at it from the other point of view, S.H.I.E.L.D. is involved, and S.H.I.E.L.D. happened because of Tony Stark's dad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's then even then,
Hydra couldn't have invaded a shield that didn't exist if it wouldn't have been for Tony Stark's dad helping to create it.
Yeah.
There's always a Stark man somewhere near.
The technology that was used in Civil War, that was the targeting system and the artificial intelligence systems and all of that stuff, is all based on Tony Stark's work. In fact, that whole storyline in Civil War is akin to a storyline that they had in one of the animated movies for Iron Man, which was basically almost like an anime, where Tony Stark creates a ring of satellites around the Earth, and they get taken over by a virus, and the virus decides that it wants to delete humanity, in much the same way that they were going to do it with the ships. So instead of having satellites, you have the big helicarriers, and the helicarriers are going to shoot people instead of the satellite system.
I was sitting here just thinking about something. I'm trying to figure out a place where I was like, okay, look, man, isn't it true that I'm gonna have to go look at this? I'm gonna go pull the comic book, but wasn't it a Stark Tech truck that spilled the chemicals that created Daredevil?
Yes.
I almost swore it was a Stark. It was either Stark or it was AIM, but I think it was Stark Technology trucks.
I'm pretty sure it was Stark
that spilled the chemicals that poured on Matt Murdock that eventually made him Daredevil,
and also created the Ninja Turtles.
You know, people tell me that.
No, it's true.
It's true. They said he had turtles with him.
It's true.
He had turtles. Young Matt had turtles.
So if you go and do the research for it, you just go to the Wikipedia page for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The two guys who created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles also worked on Daredevil, and when they created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they had it be a spill that happened of chemicals from a truck. And in that scene, you can see a little boy that got hit with the chemicals, and to them, they were always connected. So while they can't come out and actually say, yes, that's the Turtles and that's Daredevil, that's implied in the comic, in the original creation comic for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So those 4 turtles and Splinter being mutated, they were mutated by the same mutagen that got on Matt Murdock and made him lose his sight and gave him superhuman reflexes, and
it made him a kung fu god.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go look at this. That is crazy.
This is our Spider-Man episode.
Man, this was our Marvel Cinematic Universe episode with some hints of Spider-Man in it. That's really what happens every time you and I hold these conversations. We always just start pulling the whole puzzle together.
It digresses.
Yes, man. And now people get to see how crazy we are. So let's go ahead. We're going to wrap this up. If you were going to give it a scale, 1 to 10, where are you putting this one?
11.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Where do you put it in the pantheon of Marvel Cinematic Films now as your favorites go?
I'd say it's in the top 3. It's not number 1. I can tell you that much.
Winter Soldier's still my number 1.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier will probably stay my number 1.
Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, and then Spider-Man.
That's not a bad mix.
No.
That's not a bad mix. Winter Soldier, I think, is always going to be my number 1. I would have to say Guardians of the Galaxy, probably that first one is my number 2 because it's so epic. And then this Spider-Man is better than any Spider-Man that ever came before it.
I would love it if there was a walk-on role of Tobey Maguire just in the next one. Just a walk-on, just him walking through the background or something. It would be hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Complaining about Spider-Man.
Just in the background at have a scene where they're at a mall and they're walking through the mall and Tobey Maguire and fucking what's his name from the previous one?
Oh, Andrew
Garfield are just sitting at a table having a shitty mall lunch together. Would be hilarious.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
It'd be more amazing than the Amazing Spider-Man, I can tell you that much.
Oh, haterade, dude! I actually enjoyed both of those films. I did. So I'm not the guy. I can't hate. I have yet to hate a Spider-Man film. I just don't like some as much as others. I don't even hate what's the one? Emo Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, I don't even hate that one. I mean, yeah, it was kind of weird, and there was a jazz fingers and jazz hand scene, but it was still, I didn't hate it. It was just weird. I'm going to have to go ahead and say, yeah, it's pretty close to perfect. I don't think I'd give it the perfect score. I don't know if I'd give it a 10, but that 9.5 sure looks solid on there. I'm still trying to find something to hate about it. You know what I mean?
I think if I'm gonna do comic book movies for the year, though, right now, this is Logan, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man.
Yes, if we're going in the year, that's still my top 3 for the year. And Wonder Woman damn near knocked Logan out of first place. It was so solid.
Wonder Woman's officially made more money than Deadpool.
And Patty Jenkins has officially ink's dry on the contract. She's the director for part 2.
Are you sure? Because the last time that I heard, they were still negotiating, but she is going to be coming back.
Yeah, last I heard, ink is dry on the contracts. We can look into this, but ink should be dry. But from the last I heard, it was official. She was back. And we missed out on a lot of stuff. There's some stuff we hadn't talked about, man.
Talk about it in the next episode.
Yeah, we really need to.
Yeah.
All right, so cool. We're going to get on out of here, man. So I'm going with a 9.5 on it to kind of wrap it up. You're going to give it an 11. Still in our top 3 comic book films for the year. I think we both agree. Our list right now is Logan's number 1, Wonder Woman's number 2, Spider-Man is number 3. We are still waiting to see what Thor Ragnarok does, because I'm having high hopes for this. I've yet to be disappointed by anything I've seen from it. That preview trailer they dropped was amazing to me, and I'm never been this excited for a Thor film. I'm hyped for a Thor film. All right, so let's get on out of here, man, and let's try to get ready for another show one day soon. Let's not go this long. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brendan Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page at GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages at Coach Silky and at Bizide. You can direct questions and comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.